All right, I think we've been building up to this day for far too long, and for good reasons. Of course, it is an event that comes by once in a while. A small matter of 500 crores to be spent over 2 days. Really tiny matter, right? Dhruv, 2 days, 500 crores. On about 280 out of that lot, 280 players odd. I think we'll be getting an elusive IPL contract. If you divide it in mean terms, you're averaging 1.8 cr as your salary in the IPL, which is insane. And those are the numbers that are sort of up on the line. But alongside all of that, right? Alongside all of that, I think just this beautiful reset button in a way for fans, right? Because you thought of your team in a certain way for many years. Your team has been a certain look, but now you've got the opportunity to welcome a few people into your setup, into your team, and it's going to be very interesting. And to talk about the same for a bit, I'm joined by Dhruv Malik, of course, who returns to the podcast after breaking a lot of myths on the episode that he was on. Nice to see you, Dhruv. How you been?
Yeah, good. Thank you for having me again. Always good to be here.
Bright and early. You're up nice and early today, and this is right up your alley. You know what's going to happen today, and we hope you can answer a few questions that will come in the comment section. They'll start flowing in very early, but a lot of money to be made and a lot of money to be spent today.
It brings back very good memories. So I was part of the Mega Auction in 2011. That was the first set
Oh,
after 8, 9, and 10 finished. So 2011, when I was working for RCB, so the pre-auction retention was Virat Kohli at the time, one of the
Hmm.
IPL's most historic retentions. So there were the top two player salary brackets pre-auction in 2011 were 1.8 million and 1.5 million. Those days we had
Hmm.
they were in dollars at the time. So Virat
mm,
was the only RCB retention, if you remember, Arif. And then we
yeah.
went into auction. I remember, yeah, wasn't the best auction, to be very honest with you. But
Yeah.
look, I mean, AB de Villiers did get
Yeah.
bought in that auction, which
Yeah.
did start
Yeah. I was just about to
fantastic.
say. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but no, why that became quite interesting is because obviously, yeah, I mean, you had that was a special auction because also Rohit Sharma got bought by Mumbai Indians.
Mumbai
Um,
Indians, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was an interesting one. Gautam Gambhir moved to KKR. So this reset, as you said, Sumit, is a 3-year plan. So we will know at the end of today which franchise has really strong championship ambitions, playoff ambitions, and I think how things will move for the next 2, 3 seasons.
Mm,
Very true. Very
big
true.
day.
And also coming on is Areeb. I think this is your first appearance. It's taken you a while to
Yes,
come on,
it's
but
my
it's good to
debut
be here.
ball. It's my
Yeah, but
debut
but
ball,
well
and what a
done. Good
day
to see you.
to make.
Yeah, and what a day.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
Areeb
you.
of course
What a day.
works at. He's a sports producer at Sony Pictures. Uh, you reach out to
I'm
him. He's a
Sumed's
star in the
junior. I
making.
have learnt my craft under Sumed. So that's where it all started. And
Areeb,
now I'm
that
back
doesn't
with
do
Sumed.
that doesn't do a lot of good to people watching, wanting to hire you. They'll be like, "Arey, please learn from this
Nahi,
guy."
I'm good.
Forget.
Uh, okay, good point. But yeah, what a day
Yeah.
to, what a weekend this is going to be, man. Leave aside the finance, like for once, if we even forget the financial side of it, just the narrative that is going to be set today is going to be carried
Hmm.
forward in the IPL for the next so many years. And what franchises do in those on those auction tables today is going to be that is going to have larger than life implications for Indian cricket as we speak.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we've been actually over the course of the last week and a half, we've been talking about every single team, and the one thing that we sort of that's a blanket statement for everybody is: do you plan for 22 or do you plan for 22, 23, 24, 25, right? And that's where teams have sort of always that's been the differentiator, right, Dhruv, between teams that have gone on to win multiple championships as opposed to teams that have said, listen, we'll make one punt now for this season, and it's usually gone south, right? It's usually not worked out very well when you plan for
Yeah, of
just one
course. I
season.
mean, yeah,
Hmm.
completely. And I just referred to that 2011 auction. The two teams we spoke about, KKR and MI, did win multiple championships after that.
Yep.
So there was obviously that entire planning that, yes, this particular season is important because you go in with the most cap space, but you are planning for the future. You're
Mm-mm.
planning to, so you're having two or three core Indian players and you're building a nucleus around them. So KKR at the time with Gautam Gambhir as a captain, and then in subsequent seasons, as places opened up in your squad, you picked a Manish Pandey who did very very well for you. You had a Sunil Narayan who came in much later. So you identify your four key areas. With Mumbai Indians, I mean, it just went to another level altogether because that was the start of
Mm.
obviously the greatness of Rohit Sharma to become arguably the greatest franchise cricketer, just because again started in 2011-12, played under legends at the time. There was still Sachin Tendulkar at the time then, but then in
Ricky
2013
Ponting.
into a leadership role. So it's not just as you
Yeah.
said, right? 2, 3, 4, 5 years you already had that. So I mean, as Arya
Mm.
rightly mentioned, why Shreyas Iyer is an important conversation for today, because he is the only Indian captain in that age, potential Indian captain in that age bracket, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
our team is going to think, okay, this year, next year, year after, could he be potentially a captain and someone you're building a team around? You have to build your team around a marquee Indian player. Um,
Mm.
that's most crucial.
Also, let's
And
not
we get
forget
to
that
the,
this
yeah, go
IPL,
on.
sorry, let's not forget that this IPL is going to be most probably played around Mumbai, Pune. So it's not going to have that home advantage thing for teams that they usually try and build their teams around. So they will essentially have to today and tomorrow build their teams thinking of the next year and the years after that when they get to play on their home grounds and things like that. And if they just, I'm sure they're not going to just think about this year, and it's not going to be one of those options where you just think, okay, we got to focus on winning the championship. It's going to be more far-sighted than that.
Oh, for sure. You look at. I mean, I think the clear example for me is Rashid Khan, who's picked Ahmedabad. Clear reasons, right? Ahmedabad's a surface that turns laterally. It's a huge ground. Those are conditions that are perfect for him to bowl at, right? As opposed to going anywhere else. So players also are looking at it in that lens. Players who had, the option to choose. Now it will depend
Yeah.
on what franchisees choose, which is why talking about the franchisees are important today. And I'd like to talk about this. Dhruv, what do you reckon? Has changed in the last few years. The way I look at it, sports management and collective consciousness in cricket has sort of evolved in the last few years. There's a lot more professionalism here. I have a feeling that ego buys are a thing of the past. There'll be very few ego buys now, and there'll be more sort of meticulous planning and sticking to your guns as much as possible, right? So uh, can you just spell it out for people that are not familiar with how things work, how it's evolved over the last, say, 3 or 4 or 5 years with franchises and how they operate?
Yeah, the ego buy you said is perfect. I'm just reading this here. The highest amount on a single player that MI and CSK have spent over the years has not exceeded 8 or 9 CR.
Yeah.
No surprises why they're two of the most successful teams. An ego buy, yes. You're expecting a lot to happen in one particular season. I remember 2009, just one of the years again when I was working for RCB. Kevin Peterson was a pure ego buy. And again, nothing wrong with that. You want a maverick who can come in, who can win you 7, 8 games. But I
Mm,
think the days of the maverick player, I wouldn't say are numbered, Sumit, but a lot of franchises have realized that the impact is negligible beyond a point. Also, in a modern context, there's availability, there's this new dynamic of bio bubbles, then there's basic player
yeah.
motivation as well. Is a
Yeah.
foreign player going to come in and want to be motivated to give that 100% every time? Exceptions to this rule are obviously a Kyron Pollard, who literally has treated the IPL as his primary cricket platform over many years. So where franchises have got really smart is that, particularly now in 2022, we've had two pre-auction retentions. Previous years, you just have one. You either have a trading window where players are moved around, or at the end of every season, the franchise decides who do we want to retain, who do we want to throw back into the auction. Here, with two new teams coming in, you've had one set of retentions that the existing franchises have done, and then you've had Lucknow and Ahmedabad who've retained three players. So the first thing a franchise is going in with, how much of cap space have we got left? A team like Punjab going in with 72 crores obviously now knows there are three or four things that they need to plug in. A team like MI already have made good retentions. They'll know exactly what they're doing. You're not going to see anyone going for it. Now, coming back to the whole
Mm.
Shreyas point that Arif mentioned, if you're going to have a lot of competitive bidding in the auction, there are only going to be two or three teams that can afford him. Is a team
Mm.
going to spend a lot of money on a particular player and not have the rest to plug out? So you have to weigh it in. So the analysis that goes in now has evolved a lot over the years. It
Yeah.
isn't just about people tuning in to watch the billion owners lift a paddle. Those days are gone. I think that there are some extremely intelligent people working in franchises now. Some not so intelligent ones as well. But you're gonna have
I knew
you're gonna
that
have
was coming.
but
No,
I'm good. You're going to see a lot of value for money buys. You're going to see quite a lot. You'll see specific buys. So again, we're going to
Mm.
be playing in three venues this time, so conditions may not come a lot into it. Like how it was with KKR, they needed spinners because the wicket turns a lot in Eden Gardens. Bangalore, again, more seamers because again, smaller ground, the altitude,
Small
ball
ground.
travels a lot faster. With
Hmm.
Pune, with Mumbai, and I think we're playing in two venues in Mumbai. So it's going to be
Yep.
interesting. I'm sure they will think a lot about some specific buys just because the dynamics will be different this year. But
Mm.
franchises are used to it because the last two seasons we've played in three venues in the Gulf as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it just came to me while Dhruv was talking about Kings 11 Punjab. So, sorry, the Punjab Kings rather. We've been talking about Shreyas, and we've all of us general narrative has been that either it'll be KKR or an RCB, the two franchises who desperately need a captain. But Punjab Kings have also not announced a captain, so and they
correct.
have the biggest purse available. And they are known for these ego buys. If you
अरीब
see the
अरीब
Yes.
history,
तो
yeah.
अरीब तो सही बंदे से बोल रहा है पता है ध्रुव manages Mayank
I
तो
know, I
you
know. That's why I
nice
brought it
I
up.
like this beautiful plug-in that's
That's
happening here but
that's why I brought it
yeah,
up because in my opinion, I think Mayank should have been announced as captain way before
for
today.
sure for
He should have
sure
been
I mean
announced as captain.
Dhruv we know you won't be able to
But
sort of
it's smart.
speak
It's smart. It's probably smart strategy that he's not been
I
announced because
know.
if he was announced, then Punjab would have already put the cards on the table saying we're not bidding for shares.
I
there you
mean, it
go
was just
hey
yeah. I mean, this just spices it up and Punjab generally come
yeah
into every auction with the biggest purse available because they don't do retentions. They are just revamping almost every auction.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are a very notorious bunch to watch out for today.
And retentions are very crucial now. That to answer your question, Sumit, on the changes, I think
yeah
teams that have retained this time have really made some very good retentions because it's easier to retain a core and then go in and spend. Now Chennai and Mumbai
yeah
over the years have made the best retentions. Let's be honest. I mean, and it's again no surprise that they've won the most number of trophies because you retain your core players, you know which players you need when you're going into the open auction. And again, just to answer your question on Punjab this time, you've got a dedicated aggressive opener and you've got a good seamer, a good deck bowler. So you've covered two good areas. So now it makes
yeah
your strategy very important that where you're going to choose your four foreigners. A
yeah
lot of franchises would have identified that we want our foreigners as keeper batsmen, as middle order batsmen, finishers, fast bowlers, and then you have your set of players below that. A lot of teams are gonna look at foreign T20 openers. I think there are just two in the mix here with Warner and Jason Roy.
mm,
Faf is coming
mm,
towards the end of his career. He's achieved quite a lot. So now you've got potentially two good foreign openers, and you've got Rahane, you've got Devdutt, and you've got Shikhar who are in the open auction. Um, Look at
Yeah.
it. Most of the franchises have retained one opener already. So that makes the
Yeah.
dynamic a little exciting because opening batsmen, as we've seen in T20 cricket a lot, play an extremely important
Hmm.
role. So that
Oh,
that's
for
a good
sure. And yeah, and that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about next, which is the marquee set. I think it's quite clear that once this first set is done, we're going to know where each team is and what are their priorities, what they're looking at. And it's interesting because Dhruv, if I'm not wrong, the last mega auction had two marquee sets of 8 each, right? As opposed to this time, it's just one set of 10. And the teams are more as well. You've got two new teams this time. So this the
and a higher
first
cap,
set, right?
and
And
you
a
have a
higher
high
cap,
salary cap. Yeah, yeah.
higher salary cap. Yep, that's also up. So in an ideal world, one team picks one each, but it's not going to happen, right? It's
But
just not going to happen.
they would have already identified which marquee player they want. Because see,
Yeah.
the teams, because there's been quite a lot of activity in the retention this time. You had two separate retentions, don't forget that. So
Mm,
every
mm.
franchise has one marquee player that they already would have in mind. And again, if you, I'm just looking at the list you've put up here. So just say, for example, the teams with the most money are going to very aggressively go after David Warner. He's someone who can win you an IPL. Now
Oh, for sure.
yeah, if he's in the right frame of mind and he turns up well, he'll win you an IPL. What he's brought
Yeah.
to the table is unquestionable. Um,
Yeah.
if you don't get a Warner, is your second backup a Faf du Plessis? If you're looking purely on a foreign opener, right? A
Yeah.
team like RCB may say, look, our priority is a good foreign fast bowler. Let's go for a Rabada. Are Delhi Capitals going to look to buy him back? Then the dynamics, do they have enough cap space after the four retentions they've made? That comes into the equation as well. So that's the whole kind of dynamic behind it. And again, Pat
Yeah.
Cummins, is he available for the whole tournament this year?
No, he's not. I don't think
No,
he
no,
is.
you're not. Not for the entire.
So the same thing with the English folks as well, right, Arib? I think
Yeah,
there's the
yeah.
same situation with the English folks. So, Arib, what do you make of the marquee set? It's very interesting. A few of them are, of course, on the other side of 35, but still, you'd still like to think that teams will still go after them, right?
I mean, the entire myth of being over 35 not being useful has been broken by CSK. Let's be clear about that for once. So,
That's
players
true.
like Shikhar Dhawan, Faf du Plessis, they might not be on the younger side. Take Shikhar Dhawan, for example. Last year's IPL, one half was played in India, one half was played in the UAE. He was still Delhi Capital's best batter. And although he's not been a part of the Indian setup, so to speak, but he has shown that the IPL is his stage, and he does do really well in this tournament. Apart from him, the one player that I think in this marquee set is going to be bonkers is going to be Quinton de Kock. He has a very unique set of skills that I think teams will be after a
भाई
lot.
opening lefty who keeps और क्या चाहिए यार मतलब that's insane.
And
Exactly.
What a skill
fully
set.
available for all games.
Fully
That's
available.
one.
Ah,
See,
यार.
the two massive criterias, ability and availability. If you're available for the entire tournament, that's where it matters the most. Quinton de Kock doesn't play Test cricket anymore. And I
Yeah.
think I don't know, has he retired from one white ball format as well?
No,
Could
no,
be wrong.
he's playing both
No,
white
just
ball formats.
tests.
Just tests.
So again, see, the focus and the availability becomes quite crucial. I think, see, those days are also gone where having an expensive foreigner who plays 6 7 games, those days are fully gone as
Mm,
well.
Oh
I
yeah,
brought up the
definitely.
Kevin Peterson example, right? In 2009, he was
Yeah.
only available for a certain number of games. Then he disappeared for international commitments. 2010, again, he joined late. You need to build your core. And again, the over 35s, looking at Ashwin here, he's going to be, he'll be a surprise pick as well. I think that, he's still
mm,
Mm.
got a lot to offer
true.
in T20 cricket. Those four overs will be quite. He's
Yeah.
been phenomenal for Delhi Capitals the last 2 seasons.
David Warner brings a unique skill set. I agree with that point, but he is also a potential captaincy prospect if a franchise
True.
is thinking about the next 2 to 3 years only. Not extremely long term. You don't get a Shreyas Iyer kind of dynamic with David Warner in terms of captaincy, in terms of the long term. But if you want to look at a guy for to take you to good heights in the tournament for the next 2 or 3 years, I think David Warner is a
Yeah.
good option for that. I
बस वो
wanted
अभी
to
ना
ask
थोड़ा
you guys
थोड़ा
something.
रेप्यूट का सीन हो गया है और कुछ नहीं यार, with that incident with Hyderabad and
Yeah,
stuff, that bad repute or whatever. But I think a few
But I'm
teams
sure the
will
other
sort of
teams want
definitely
the other teams will happily take.
look past it.
yeah.
Yeah, but Arif, go on. You were saying something.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I wanted to just we were talking about the 35 plus wala area. I wanted to talk about one team in specific, CSK, the guys who made playing with 35
Of
plus
course, you want to
players
talk about them.
famous, and I wanted to. I'm just trying to think out loud here whether they're going to change their strategy coming into this auction. Are they going to look at bringing back their experienced bunch of players, or are they going to go in a different direction this time around? Because again, this is building up for the next 5 or 6 years of the tournament. What do you
CSK.
guys think? Yeah,
So CSK, see, they've retained Rituraj, who's going to be their main opener for the next 4 5 years. Are they
Poster
going
boy
to?
for 10 years.
Yeah, pretty much. But see, also see the other thing is that even though you buy a player today, you don't have to keep him for
Hmm.
3 years. So you can easily at the end of one season decide to let go of him. This if we have another auction next year, we still don't know that yet. If we're going to do away with an auction this year, so but again, would you spend money on a Faf du Plessis just for a one season, or who knows? As CSK from this Marquee said, saying that look, we've already got a core. Ashwin will probably add value as the spinner, and so that's there. I don't see them going
Go
after
after
any of.
Washi. I think I'd like to
yeah,
imagine
local boy.
the way I look at it, right? Rituraj's obviously being groomed into
Yeah,
this captaincy space, but I reckon it's always good to have an alternative. And
yeah.
Washington Sundar fits right into that role. Local boy, I think he's got a good head over his shoulders, good skill set. I think he's very, very underrated white ball player.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
one
But
for the
what's his
future.
base price? He's at 1 CR, right, as a base
One
price.
CR, one CR,
yeah.
I think.
Oh, so he's in the same category as some other good Indian players.
Second lot of
Yeah.
spin bowlers or first lot of spinners, I think. All
So
rounders,
that's the
sorry.
thing, right?
All
How
rounders.
much? See, because see that name you mentioned, are a lot of teams
Hmm.
going to pass out on marquee players in the first round? Apart from the teams that are going in with a maximum budget and have a clear strategy.
That was something that I wanted to talk about next, which in terms of strategy, right? Because your marquee set will decide the whole course of it. So,
Yeah.
for example, will somebody like a Delhi who's got 47.5, will they go all in for one or two names and then just sit back and have a masala dosa at the ITC and let the others do their thing so that it becomes a level playing field? Let your
No, but they
Punjabs,
already have the
Hyderabad's
core,
go
right? But they've already done four
exactly.
redemptions. So see, it
Exactly. So you
depends.
go
I
after
mean,
just one or two of them, and then you just sit and wait for the others to sort of get onto the same, purse.
yeah. Do they want Rabada
Do you
back?
think that could happen?
Do they want Rabada
Be
back though? That's
interesting.
going to be interesting. I
I,
don't know.
They'd want. I think they'd want Rabada
yeah,
back.
I'll be
I'm. Oh,
surprised
I,
if they won't, if they don't bid for Rabada.
I'm also fully expecting them to just not bid. I don't know. I have this gut feeling that they just might say, okay, we've moved past this. We've identified somebody else. We'll get Avesh. We have Norkia. We'll get somebody
Harshal,
else and move
And they
past
retained
Rabada. I
Nokia
don't know.
at a very good price.
yeah,
They
Oh,
yeah,
didn't
brilliant.
waste much of their cap space.
Yeah.
He's useful even on slower wickets.
yeah,
Yeah.
he showed
Yeah,
us
I have
Unless
a feeling
unless
some fun,
unless they
some funny stuff might happen.
no, or unless they were worried about availability because Rabada still plays three formats.
yeah,
I don't know.
Hmm.
It's interesting.
And he's not had the best IPL season last time, of course,
Yeah.
30 previous to that in 2020. But I don't know. I have a funny feeling about Rabada today. It's something could just,
Your pick is
sort of
RCB,
pop
right?
out of
He's going
nowhere.
to. Your pick is
Yeah.
he's going to RCB.
I want my whole idea is instead of spending big on Shreyas, go and solve that one thing that you've always been struggling with, which is your overseas fast bowler, somebody who can execute, right? That's been the missing cog for Bangalore for far too long. Now change that and get into this and get somebody who can lead you for a few years, you have options in the auction. You've got folks that are sitting under the radar like Owen Morgan, Aaron Finch. There are these guys as well who can do the job for you. Instead, focus on the fast bowler and then groom a captain from there on. Get some young guy and groom them there.
But they
That's my
need a
whole thing
captain.
with
That's the thing, right? They need a captain.
they do.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I look at it, Virat's obviously going to be, number one at the franchise, right? Even though there's a new captain that comes in. So the influence of Virat and the leadership core will continue to be on. You just need somebody who can be unassuming, be sort of behind the scenes and lead the team. And all you need, and
It's like
these
a
two folks sort
non-playing
of fit the bill.
captain in the Davis Cup. How in tennis Davis Cup you have a non-playing captain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, back in the day, you had Maharajas who used to set up teams and they used to not play. They used to call the shots from sitting outside the ground.
Yeah.
Tons of stories like that. Maharaja of Patiala and Chandigarh and folks. But
But
okay,
again,
let's
they
come
don't
back
have
to the
much
auction.
cap space, right? There isn't a lot of cap
Yeah.
space, and
Yeah.
RCB, if they have to bid aggressively for Devdutt, if that's a strategy to have him in,
Yeah.
you have him right at the top. You've got
Yeah.
who's going to potentially open with him. If Maxwell's
Yeah.
going to bat at 3 or 4 or 5, if Maxwell's going to be a floater, if you're going to have Virat open, are you going to have Virat open with Devdutt again? And now,
Yeah.
because there are only among the 3 Indian openers in the open auction, Rahane,
Yeah.
Shikhar, and Devdutt, Devdutt becomes someone I think a lot of teams will bid for.
I think Delhi should go after Devdutt and not Shikhar. And have Devdutt and Prithvi at the top opening and tell Prithvi, listen, you're the senior pro now. Go ahead and take responsibility. It might change him as a player also. You never know.
But,
There's an
see,
RCB
that's the
thought
thing.
here, especially with the. Oh, interesting. Nitish Rana, cheaper alternative to Shreyas Iyer. Should KKR or RCB look into it? But
Mm,
captain?
that is presumption. I mean, Nitish
Nitish
Rana
Rana as
is a good
captain
batter.
is
He's a
very good
decent
batter, but
batter.
has he
Yeah, but
captained
he
before?
hasn't at the local level he has. But that's
Okay.
my thing. IPL is a different beast, and I would still say that he's yet to arrive as a batter, even in the IPL. He hasn't shown that level of consistency for teams to warrant
Yeah, under the radar लड़का
him.
है यार, बहुत
Yeah,
बहुत under the
बहुत
radar है.
बहुत under the
हाँ.
radar. I would say he's yet to arrive, so to speak. So I don't
Yeah,
think it's too soon to look at him as a captain. I would say.
agreed. But then again, very interesting. I'm quite interested to see how these folks who've got a lower purse go about it in the marquee set. What how, because it's quite clear that they won't go all out right at the top. You imagine people like Rajasthan, Hyderabad, Lucknow as well, who've got 60, and which is the other one? There was one more, Punjab, right? Of course, Punjab. Sorry. It, like to think that they are going to be the big spenders early on. All right, Arif, what do you reckon? Let's talk about these four. Who do you think they'll target in this marquee set, and how is that going to pan out? You reckon?
Uh, I think, look, the basic categories are obviously your opening wicketkeeper. I think that is going to be gold dust. One player who's not in this marquee set, and I think who he is going to be the at least in the top three most expensive players in this auction. I,
Shan.
Ishan Kishan. Yes, he can bat at the top. He can bat in the middle. He keeps wickets. He's a gun fielder. He has all. He ticks all the right boxes, and I think he is going to be one of those guys who goes in top double digits figures today, easy. And Mumbai will want to bring him back desperately, but I don't think so. He's going to make it back to Mumbai. I think they are
My
being too big
prediction
of a
is
cost.
MI won't buy anyone in the marquee set, save their budget, and go after him.
Ooh, well, interesting.
Who do they need from this?
Interesting.
See, if you look at their 4 retentions,
Not from this list. Not from this
yeah,
list.
No.
and
Not
knowing
from
them,
this.
they've already thought,
Maybe Quinton. Maybe Quinton, because it's worked at the top, right? Quinton
but
de Kock and Rohit at the top. That's the only thing. But Quinton's going to go for bonkers
Mm.
money.
They might just think
But
of
there are.
okay, so
Hmm.
because
but you don't need
they
Quinton
Nahi.
if Ishan as an opener, right? If you're using Ishan as an opener with Rohit, you don't need Quinton.
No,
Yeah.
here's my thing. I think Mumbai have always liked one overseas and one Indian at the top. Always, it's always worked. It's always been Sanat Jayasuriya, Sachin Tendulkar, Rohit Sharma, Lendl Simmons. It's always
Yeah.
been like that, even
Evan
lately. So
Evan
that
Lewis, Evan Lewis,
Evan Lewis,
Evan Lewis was also there. Who
And
used to
they've
so
open?
liked
many,
playing two foreign fast
Parthiv
bowlers,
Patel
right?
used to open over there.
and two
Yeah.
foreign fast bowlers for sure.
Yeah.
Preferably a
Yeah.
left arm seamer because in Wankhede you have to change your angles all the time. So
Trent
Mm.
Bolt.
Trent Bolt, I think Mitch McClanagan's days are, I think, past him.
They have
Jason Behrendorff,
Marco Jansen from South Africa.
Daniel Sams, also very good option. I think Daniel Sams bloody underrated guy, very very underrated. So I think this moves us well into radar. Let's look at radar because let's categorize it like this because otherwise we'll just keep talking, like that,
In
which is
circles, yeah.
nice, but it's still, let's give it some structure. Overseas openers, like we spoke about, let's start there, and then we'll move to the rest. And Arib, what are your picks from the overseas openers available today? And who are the ones that you're sort of keeping your eye out on?
I think Faf du Plessis is a guy who is under the radar and might just bring a lot more value than what he's going to be paid today because
Hmm.
he's someone who plays around the world in different format in different leagues. He's not so much involved in the international structure anymore with the entire South Africa issue that went on. So I think he
Yeah.
is someone that teams would logically look at. Ki boss, he is going to be a 14 game banker for us. So let's
Mm.
just get him in. And CSK will go to bring him back. I'm sure of that. And so there is going to be a small amount of tussle for him. Apart from that, I think David Warner has one last roar left in him.
No,
Uh,
for
this,
sure. For
despite
sure.
what happened, in the IPL last year with Hyderabad, and one another guy who has yet not delivered in the IPL on that level in terms of being an overseas opener is Jason Roy. Now
I was coming to that.
he's
What?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's the one to look out for today. Apart from the obvious names.
Also,
Dhruv?
among the overseas openers, who plays spin the best? Now, a lot of IPL teams open with a spinner. That is one different dynamic that the
What
IPL
a
has
great
compared
shout.
to,
Great
yeah,
shout.
that
Very, very
compares a
true.
lot. That's different from a lot of the other overseas T20 leagues, whether it's the Big Bash or whether you're playing elsewhere. Is how well your foreign opener plays the spinners. You're going to have spinners bowling up front. Warner plays spin extremely well. So does Jason Roy. Faf du Plessis, we've seen what has done over the years. A lot of the other foreign openers have been weak against spin. They've been
Yeah,
exposed a lot. So
Yeah.
if you're looking purely just on overseas openers, yes, Warner, we've seen it. Jason Roy is far too good a player, hasn't delivered. He isn't going to go for that much of an insane price as a David Warner. He should definitely perform. The other overseas openers, I'm not so confident just because we've got enough data
yeah,
over the years that they've struggled against spin.
For me, I've got two names that three names rather. So the first one that I want to get out of the way is somebody who doesn't play spin well, but will go for money is Johnny Besto. Can keep,
yeah,
can bats at the top. He's an asset, but doesn't play spin well.
Is
So
he
you
available?
that
Is he
is,
fully
but I
available?
yeah. The problem with Johnny
yes,
Bairstow is not available for the entire tournament. He has England test commitments towards the end of the.
that's the problem. That's the
So
problem.
yeah,
The second one that is available, that is going to be available, and is English, is Alex Hales, and I think the boy has taken his T20 level up
For spin.
consistently.
Is he good against
खेल
spin?
लेगा
Spin up front.
खेल लेगा I think he'll manage. I think he'll manage. He plays in the PSL. Remember, he plays a lot in the PSL, so he's got that Asia experience. Pakistan also has a few spinners, and I think someone like a Delhi will be looking at him potentially because Ricky Ponting's whole thing about the Big Bash. He keeps an eye out on them. It's the same with Kolkata. I think Kolkata will also be looking at Alex Sales. I think Alex Sales could potentially attract a lot of money. And I don't know if Baby AB bats at the top. Does he bat at the top? Does he bat in the middle?
Not
baby,
sure.
What's his
AB.
name? The under. Yeah, the under
Under
19
Oh,
boy
nineteen.
the
who.
under he bats in the middle.
What's
He bats
what's
in number
his
four.
full name? I'm so sorry. What's his full
Uh,
name? I cannot
uh,
quite recollect at this point. Anyone in the comments can let us know as well. But that the boy is, oh, he can bat, right? Drew, have you seen him bat?
Saw a few of the highlights. I mean, I don't get too excited by under 19 players.
That's because you see too many of them.
Yeah, I just,
you've got you've got what I call Devil Brewis. Thank you. In that's who
they've all
he is.
Brewers. Yeah, they've all Brewers.
Yeah,
I,
and
I like to see a few of the under 19 players go through a season of first class cricket, get good grooming, and then come into the IPL.
Drew, you're a hard task master. You should have been a coach. Are
Hmm.
you planning to go on and become a coach in any sport? You'll be good at it.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
No.
But see, the point you made on the overseas opener, another
Yeah,
important criteria. So if you're looking at Delhi, Prithvi Shaw is already a 160 strike rate, 165 strike rate opener, similar to Mayank. Mayank bats at
I
that
was coming to that.
similar strike rate, right? So the
yeah.
foreign opener you pick, teams will have to strategize. Do you want both your guys scoring at 160, 165 strike rate? Or do you want someone to complement them well at 135, 140 strike rate, which your Rahanes and your Shikhar Dhawan can do? Um,
Yeah,
I'm getting a feeling that if a team does have one big bang opener, whether Indian or foreigner, playing 160, 165, will they want their opener to their other opener in a 130, 135 strike rate, like your Rahanes, like your Dhawans, because they still can add a lot of value, especially if we're playing in three venues in Maharashtra.
yeah.
Pitches will get
It'll
slower
depend
a
on the
lot.
coach.
Pitches will
Yeah,
get slower a lot quicker because if you're only playing in
yeah,
three venues in India, normally if you see an entire IPL season when it's played in India, towards the business end of the tournament, wickets get a lot slower, right? If you're
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
in
they
three
do.
venues right from the start, you will need somebody like that. Rahane
And
today is a
more games this time.
more games,
More
and see
games this
people
time.
like Rahane and Shikhar have a lot to prove. They've got a lot to prove
Yeah,
right now. So this IPL is all or nothing for them. For Shikhar, it's definitely all or nothing. So too for Rahane. So
yeah.
I think if a team is smart, if they're gonna pack their middle order with the power hitters, if they've got a Mayank Shikhar, sorry, a Mayank or a Prithvi Shaw opener, that can really help. So this obviously wouldn't
Which
work for a team like
yeah,
Ahmedabad. They already have
yeah.
Shubman Gill, who's your 130, 135 strike rate opener.
You need somebody who can
yeah,
go all out with
Yeah,
him.
the strike rate is
Yeah,
the most important in T20 and your strike rate in the middle overs.
correct.
So this is something that,
Hmm.
sorry, I'm plugging this in, but Mayank did really well in the last two IPLs. The strike rate from over 7 to 15.
we don't blame you. We don't blame you.
No, but
But
We
that
do
moves
it.
us. That moves us. No, that's true. It's very very true. It is in
wait,
fact the. Here's the thing, right? When you see the name of the player flash in the auction room, you for batters you see strike rate before average. Strike rate's
Yes,
yes.
always
that
visible
that is the
first.
beast of
Yeah,
T20 cricket.
yeah.
That is the
Which
beast of
is
T20
why
cricket.
you don't just jump from under India under 19 to an auction. You have to play a year of Syed Mushtaq, Vijay Hazare, and
Dhruv has
obviously
just been really hurt by this change in
then do
rules for
it.
the under 19 cricketers. I mean, he's just taking it to the under 19 cricketers. This time. क्यों यार बेचारों को कमाने दो.
Name one under
But that
19 players first season of IPL who did well. Name one. Who went straight from under 19 World Cup to IPL.
Prithvi Shaw did, no, he didn't do well in the first
who
season.
I've
So
been upset about. I've been upset about Abhishek Sharma, who I thought had
Yeah, he has
tremendous
potential.
potential, and I think he was too fast tracked. He
yes.
played IPL games before he was ready, because Hyderabad were trying out a few things, and he could have used some experience, build some muscle, get back into cricket. But yeah, there
No,
have been
and
those cases.
no, and on a serious note, when you get this exponential pay rise, it can. I mean, it's great. Again, I'm not knocking anyone who's gonna be really rich by the end of today. Uh, use your money well, lads. Just stay away from cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and don't invest shamefully. Use your money well. But Rishabh Pant is a good one who transitioned, but I think Rishabh Pant has taken also 2 3 seasons in the IPL,
Rishabh
hasn't he?
Pant is a once in a generation player. Don't compare him to the
Yeah,
others.
No, I think what the
once in
user is asking is someone who's gone directly from the under 19 World
yeah,
Cup. That
who's
season,
done
or
well.
maybe
Yeah,
back.
who's
I
done.
think it
Yeah.
took. I could be wrong. I'd say it took him 1 or 2 seasons, and in international cricket, it took him a little longer.
Yeah,
So I think he exploded in 2018, right? In that last season when they were Daredevils is when he really took off. And then, of course, after
yeah,
this transition, it's been, yeah. So, and he joined only in 2016, 2017. So, interesting. Okay, so that moves us well to our second one, which is Indian batters, who I think are going to have a field day today, right? Lots of money to be made. Dhruv, at the top of your head, who are your top three Indian batters who are going to go for good money and sort of will have a lot of interest
So
in the auction
Devdutt
today?
right at the top, left-hander opener, plays well,
Mm, mm,
and again a future. He's a future player who can. Um, I'm throwing Shreyas into the mix here because Shreyas is a hugely underrated T20 batsman. Hugely
yeah,
underrated.
yeah,
Look at the numbers of when Delhi Daredevils became Delhi Capitals. The captaincy was something that was there. Look at the way he batted. I think he batted at 3 and 4 in a lot of the games. Um, he again, with that added responsibility, takes his game to another level. So again, there's a lot of the narrative is a lot on Shreyas, the captain. Shreyas as a batsman who can bat at 3 or 4 in a T20 game, very, very crucial.
that's his
And again,
position. Don't play him further down. Yeah,
yeah, and I think look, Rahane and Shikhar, the franchises should be smart about it because I think that you are going to need the calm heads in the dressing room, a bit of experience. You do
yeah.
need you sometimes need as what I call the anti maverick.
Always.
Yeah, it's
Definitely. And that was my
important.
point about Delhi as well yesterday on my Delhi preview. I said, listen, you've got match winners everywhere, but who is the one who'll win you the title, who'll win you the championship, who'll sort of ensure that the team remains on that level head, has level headedness. There's always this type of a player. Like you look at
Yes,
football as well, your James Milners of the world. That's
correct.
the kind of character you need, and I thought Shreyas was that guy in the making at Delhi.
A Maverick can win you one title. Shane Warne 2008 is a great example.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
but otherwise, the two of the most level-headed guys over 13, 14 years in the IPL are Rohit Sharma and MS Dhoni. Look how many times our conversation keeps going back to both of them and to those two franchises because being
So true.
level-headed, being mature, and I think see this is where Rohit had that additional skill where he knew how to get the
Yeah.
best out of players. The IPL is all about getting the best out of your teammates as well. It's not all about me. It's about we, especially in T20 cricket. So I think from that
Yeah.
standpoint, there have been no one in Indian cricket apart from Dhoni and Rohit who've got the best out of their players. And again, I mean, this is somewhere where they've held the edge over even players like Virat. Virat in RCB has been phenomenal as a batsman. Has he got the best out of a lot of the players? Probably not.
oh,
Yeah.
true.
Maybe Gautam Gambhir at KKR also did well, I suppose, for a few seasons. But yeah, these two folks have sort of stuck around, and you can see the effect on them. Arib,
Yeah.
who are your Indian batter
Yeah,
picks? Who are you sort of looking forward to?
I'm going for two people who I think are going to go really well. Shah Rukh Khan and Deepak Huda.
Hmm.
Both young Indian uncapped players. Deepak Huda is now capped, but they have this
Yeah.
unique skill set of batting, of finishing games, of batting at the depth. Deepak Huda always brings in his spin bowling to the table as well. But I think teams are going to look for
Yeah.
these young players who can fill their role of finishers. As important as opening the batting is in T20 cricket, you have finishing the innings as equally or maybe even
Oh,
more
for
important
sure.
of a role.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
Deepak Huda can bowl as well.
yeah, exactly. And one dark horse that I would pick in the Indian batters category is Amati Raidu. I think
Hmm.
being at CSK did a lot for him. He was moved
Hmm.
around the order a lot. He opened the batting. He played in the middle order. He batted in towards the lower middle order. Last season, he showed us that he could finish games. He had a strike rate of more than 160. I think he is a good value for
लास्ट
money player
20
as well.
साल में ना, लास्ट 20 साल में जो भी प्लेयर आए, अंबती रायडू इन माय ओपिनियन इज इन द टॉप 10 मोस्ट talented in India in the last 20 years. The
Yeah,
talent had no bounds, absolutely no bounds. My gut feeling
absolutely.
is
They played for any
Hyderabad.
IPL.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately correct. My feeling is Hyderabad should go and get him, solve that
Mm.
middle order problem that you've had for a long time. Local boy, your third is he's now moving. Hyderabad have lost three of their foundational pillars. You need heroes in the team. You need people that will pull the crowd in as well. That's going to be very important. So I think Ambati Raidu to Hyderabad is something that I'm hoping for happens.
And one
Yeah,
mistake, well, it's not a mistake because they've obviously won a championship. Hyderabad spend a lot on foreign batsmen who've been the core. So you've had Besto, you've had David Warner, you've had Kane Williamson at
Yeah.
three. When you do that, how many positions do you have for your foreign players? As Arif rightly said, middle order players, spinners, fast bowlers, things like that. So how much? See, it all comes back to I'm sure every franchise knows which are our key roles that we want for foreigners, which are our key roles we want
100%.
for the Indian players, and that's the
100%.
strategy they're going to look after it. Now, if Hyderabad need two
Yeah.
openers in this auction, don't they? They need
yeah,
two.
they do. They do.
Hyderabad need,
Yeah,
yeah, both at the top. Yeah, definitely.
they
Definitely.
have
They need
Williamson, Abdul
they need
Samad,
one
and
Rahane type opener and maybe one aggressive foreigner like a Jason Roy or a Besto.
mm,
True. Might go for some young folk also. You never know. So interesting. I think for me, I'm keen to look at how Nitish Rana and Rahul Tripathi, how that thing shapes up, because I think those two, especially Tripathi, has been incredible in the IPL.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible, right? Do KKR go back for him is going to be very important. KKR don't have a lot of money with their four retentions, but I think it's not going to be easy for them when they try and get Rahul Tripathi, because I imagine interest from everywhere, including people like Mumbai and a bunch of others.
And he's a floater. Remember that he's a floater. You can play
कहीं
him
भी खेल
anywhere.
सकता
yeah,
है. Exactly, he
Yeah.
can absolutely play anywhere.
Yeah.
He's a good guy to
Very,
have in your
very.
dressing room. Yeah,
And the strike rate, don't forget the strike rate. See, this is going to be the
very
strike.
important.
See, the team that have the best strike rates overs 7 to 15 win you the IPL.
Correct. Middle overs, how do you navigate from
7 to
there?
15.
Absolutely right.
Over 7 to 15, best strike
Yep.
rates. Surya, brilliant in those overs.
Yeah.
That's why the last two IPL seasons.
Powell from West Indies. Yeah, we will come to overseas, of course, in just a bit. But I think sticking to Indians, right? I definitely think Indian batters are going to have a field day today. Lots of because here's the thing. I think the way I look at it, um, it's a supply and demand situation, because you there is requirement, but how many top level IPL level quality batters that are there, that are available, who've done it, is the question, right? So I think these guys are going to go bonkers on
yeah.
Indian folks. Dinesh Karthik also interesting. People are shouting out for Dinesh Karthik in the
Mm.
comments. Few shouts for Nitish Rana. Again, lot of Nitish Rana going on here. Seems like Nitish Rana's sort of building a fan base. KKR should replace Gill with Rahane. Experience counts. Very interesting shout. Whoa. Okay.
Manish
Lot of
Pandey is
shouts
also there in
from,
the lot.
yeah, Manish
You
Pandey
you
is
know why
exactly. So
Rahane is I'll elaborate on that. See, the thing with Rahane, right, is that you're then giving the option for the other batsman to play freely. So if you've got a
yeah,
Maverick opener at the other end, if he's already a 150, 160 strike rate player, it gives you that freedom.
yeah,
See, Delhi did this really well when Shikhar and Prithvi Shaw opened. If you look at Prithvi Shaw's numbers then, only
yeah,
because Shikhar then didn't slow the run rate too much. It really helps if
yeah,
they complement each other really, really well. It's what Punjab were hoping that would work through with a Rahul and a Mayank, but it unfortunately didn't because it was very tough to get the complementary strike rates going. They're really, really important in a T20 game. If both your openers are going at 130, 140, you don't win. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
mm, mm.
And if one is going mad at 160, 170, The other opener is important. Devdutt, Shikhar, Rahane at the end of today will be interesting to see. I think teams have thought through where they can fit them in.
Hmm. Dhruv, you've sort of looked at the Karnataka Ranji setup for a bit, right? Manish Pandey has been Manish Pandey has been leading Karnataka, right, for a while now, for a few years, has he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
What do you make
he's
of him as skipper?
they're in a Ranji bubble at the moment. They have a Ranji game in a few days.
Right. So, what do you make of him as a skipper, as an option to be skipper? Do you reckon he could be a good shout? In
I mean, it's going to all come down to it's a very difficult job to captain Kohli and Maxwell in the same team.
Yeah.
It's it's going to be really difficult. See, I really feel bad for whoever is going to become the next RCB captain, because I mean, no, no, I'm not, no, but again, it is going to be. Look, listen, I love the franchise. I wouldn't even be here if that team hadn't given me a job all these years ago. But it's a very difficult call because you're going to be captaining the biggest maverick Indian cricket has ever seen. It's a difficult
yeah.
job. It's a really, really difficult job. I mean, there's so much we talk about with captaincy, with strategies, field placing. Man management is extremely difficult.
You know what works best with Maverick? Iceman. For those who don't know, this is a Top Gun reference.
Yeah,
But
yeah, of course.
you do know it, Drew. But there are people in the comment section who are
But
not
again, leave
born.
the leave the captaincy. Where will you bat Manish Pandey? Assuming he gets bought by RCB, are you going to play a Devdutt, Virat, Manish, and Maxwell as your top four?
Mhm.
What a shout! Lakshmi Kumar Rahane instead of Manish. Rahane to skipper.
I have
Potential
a very
captaincy
left
shout.
field pick. I have a very left field pick for an RCB captain.
No, no. Has he written that because he's saying Rani will make the great decisions and someone else will take credit?
Whoa! Lightning strikes twice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But what's the left field choice, Arib?
Jason Holder.
ये लेफ्ट फील्ड नहीं है बिल्कुल ये जेसन होल्डर हैज गिवन अ ब्रिलियंट ऑडिशन इन द लास्ट 3 games. He is going to command a lot of money. And to be honest, I don't, you're right. I always thought it's going to be a good option because he's unassuming. He's led West
Exactly.
Indies cricket. What else do you need? He knows about
He's that
politics.
Iceman that Virat Kohli needs, I feel.
I think
Because if
he's hit the nail on the head. Super. Who could be a good foreign captain for to captain a Kohli and a Maxwell? Jason Holder.
yeah, yeah. Because he's an all-rounder. You don't have that ego clash between batters. So he's clear of that.
I
And
was I was shunned when I said this on a live a few days ago. I was shunned. Everyone in the comments were like, "You've lost your mind." Jason Holder to captain Virat not happening. But see, I've got people that believe in it
But
because it's
again, it'll
true.
come down to cap space, right, Sumit? The cap space is
Yeah,
important. Jason Holder bats, he
yeah,
bowls. So if a team has identified him as a foreign all-rounder, uh,
yeah.
RCB don't have a lot of cap space.
Mm, true.
Even MI don't have a
Uh,
lot of cap space, if you come to think of it.
No, not really. And they don't need, like you said, they don't need players. Here's the thing, right? KKR and RCB are in such a tricky situation. They've had retentions 4 and 3, right, respectively, and yet they need to break the bank for one player supposedly, who's their captain, despite sort of spending already and having a small budget, which is why it's very tricky, how these two are going to go about it. Because like you said, Dhruv, the captain bit is super important T20 cricket, and who you get at the top is going to decide for the whole thing,
True.
which is why they're going to be in a tricky space. Okay, so let's just expedite this. I think the next bit is spinners. Hugely important. A lot of teams are looking out for spinners. Teams like Mumbai, teams like who else needs a spinner? Does Bangalore need a spinner? They do need a spinner. Uh,
Yeah,
Delhi
Punjab need
has
a
a
spinner.
spinner in Akshar.
Punjab lost their great spinner. Sorry, not great,
Punjab
very
lost
good talented
Bishnoi.
spinner. Bishnoi is gone to
I
Yeah.
was
Lucknow, and
I was surprised
KK.
when Bishnoi was not retained.
yeah,
Yeah,
should have.
I
Yeah,
should have
ये
been
ना
retained.
सब. This is also not just about the franchise, right? It's also about the player. The player must have thought, listen, I'm going to follow my captain into where he's going, right? Of course. Or So things happen that way also. Sometimes it's never really in the control of the franchise.
Sometimes and again, see, this is the opportunity where the players get to decide. Otherwise, every year it's more the franchise who hold most of the cards.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's good to have some freedom with the players, that if you don't want to play in a certain team, fair enough. But like I said, I mean, uh, if you're a spinner now bowling in the power play, there are
Yeah.
a lot of good spinners who can bowl in the power play, is going to be the crucial element, especially now when you've got good players of spin at the top of the order.
Hmm. Arif's happy with that. Kuldeep to CSK.
I think Kuldeep needs MS Dhoni to help him revive his career. Is
So
as
Kuldeep
simple as
can't
that.
bowl
I
in the
don't.
power play.
He
Kuldeep
can't
can't
bowl
bowl
in the
in the
Doesn't
power
power
play.
matter.
play. Ashwin can bowl in the power play.
But MS does not bowl spin in the power play generally, and he has Moeen Ali to have that one guy to bowl in the power
Finger
play. He has
spinner.
Jadeja.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
has Jadeja. So I don't
Jadeja
think
as
so. He's
next
worried about
captain
that.
will be interesting also. Is he going to take over
Jadeja is
captain
ex-captain.
this season? That's another element to look at. Is MS just going to
CSK
play?
fans want him to
Yeah,
captain.
Yeah.
but and then again, because MS used to use Jadeja really well as a spinner. Those middle overs, when you're trying to dry the runs up, Jadeja used to do a great job. Now Jadeja as
Yeah.
captain, how will Jadeja as captain, captain Jadeja the spinner?
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Some great shouts. We are digressing, but I really wanted to bring this up because this is a great insight. RR will go after Jason Holder because he's the captain of the sister team Barbados Royals. Did you know this? I didn't know this.
Oh,
Wow,
I don't know this.
this is a
So that
very
doesn't matter.
interesting insight.
Doesn't
I
matter. I
think it
mean,
does,
it's an
Dhruv.
option.
I think it does. The whole you look at Kolkata, right? Night Riders sports and how people revolve in that circuit.
Yeah,
Look at Manchester City and City Football Group and how people revolve around it, right? You had Lobera from FC Goa go somewhere else to another City Football Group thing. So I think that's how they function, and you never know. And they definitely need a replacement for your overseas all rounder. So
Yeah.
okay, let's come back to spinners. Sorry, I just thought of bringing that up. Great point, Goni. Thanks for bringing that up. In terms of spinners, right? I think an interesting shout for me will be Vanindu Hasaranga. He's
He can
the
bat
way I
also.
look at him, he can bat, right? And he models himself on Rashid Khan. The way I look at it, the same. He full sleeves. He's got the same,
Yeah.
footwear
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
He's got the same run up, the same. So I think and he's done well recently. So whoever can afford an overseas spin option, good
Mm.
shout. Yuzvendra Chahal, I think, will go for big bucks.
Standard.
Gold
Standard.
standard,
But
right?
gold standard.
Yeah.
Washington. Keep coming back to Washington Sundar again. He's also going to be going for big
Take
this
him.
season.
Take him to Chennai.
अरे मेरे
He
हाथ
can,
में
bowl-
कहाँ है बाबा.
he can bowl in the power play. He can bowl in the power play and he
He
can
can
bat
bowl in
as
the
well.
Exactly.
power play. That season,
Exactly.
right, for Bangalore, was it 2020? He was so good. He was so good in
Yeah.
2020 for Bangalore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
And on a
interesting
big
shout.
Shamsi.
Number one T20I bowler in the world, men's. Is he still number one? I think he
No,
is.
no. Hasaranga is number one now.
Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting.
One is
But
to
Shamsi is a
Hasaranga
good
is number
shout.
one.
Shamsi
He's a
is a
good
good
shout.
shout.
Yeah, he's a good. But I think RCB had him during which season?
Wasn't he at RCB a few years ago?
Yeah, yeah. He was at
He
RCB a few
was.
years
He
ago.
was. He
He
was. He
was at
was. Yeah.
RCB.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
that's a pride thing.
The other thing
yeah.
now is because you can only play for foreign players. Now in a mega
Mm,
auction like this, you're not going to be buying foreign players that you can't use.
Mm.
mm. It's
There's
true.
Spinners is a very interesting concept because there are also this bunch of spinners who are very effective but not so big names. Players like your Amit
Like
Mishras and your Karan Sharmas
this
and your
man,
Jayant
Jayant
Yadavs. Exactly. So these guys bring a lot of value. They're not that big names, but they are those horses for
yeah,
courses kind of people.
Jayant
Adil
RCB
Yadav
has
Rashid.
bowled
replaced them.
with the ball. Jayant
Great
Yadav
shout.
bowled with
Jayant Yadav
Adil
bowls with
Rashid,
the
is
new
he
ball.
available? Adil Rashid, is he fully available?
Again, yeah, he might be because the England,
No, he will
uh,
be. He doesn't play
he
red
will
ball,
be.
right?
He doesn't play red ball.
Yeah.
He will be available fully.
Adil Rashid's a
Jayant
great shout.
Yadav
Adam
to
Zampa.
answer that. Oh,
Adam Zampa.
Zampa availability.
Again. He
Bio
also
Bubble
I,
doesn't
I'm
play
not
red
Fury.
sure
ball.
about. I'm not sure. Anybody in the comments can tell us what's up with Australia, because they've got what? How many? 47. There are 47 Australians registered. I think,
Mm.
which is insane. So I mean, you'd like to think that they'll be available. So just for people, some trivia: 47 from Australia, 34 from West Indies, 33 from South Africa, 24 from England and New Zealand, 23 from Sri Lanka, 17 from Afghanistan, 5 from
Woo!
Bangladesh, 5 from Ireland. Yeah, Afghanistan 17, correct. Namibia, 3 from Namibia, 2 from Scotland, 1 from US, 1 from Nepal, 1 from Zimbabwe. So that's how the breakup is on the foreign folks.
Oh my God.
Oi, oi, what a beautiful name. Look at this. Akil
Akil
Hussain.
Hussain. Akil Hussain. Yeah, he did himself a lot of good in
There's
this
this,
today.
yeah. I mean, these folks obviously lost the series 3-0, but regardless, they'll be happy with their performances. I
I
think
mean,
they'll be
no
pretty,
West Indies batter
yeah.
is going to get picked from this series. Let's make that clear. But there are a lot of
That's
good
true.
bowling options.
Okay, let's move to uncapped Indians. I think fantastic segment. A lot of names. Ari, fire away. Who do you think are going to be your 2 or 3 uncapped Indians that you're looking out for? Okay, let's
Yeah,
twist
I
this
mean,
around. I know
yeah.
you're going to say Shah Rukh Khan to Chennai. Leave that aside.
And I'm
Leave
not
that
going.
aside.
Okay, yeah, okay. Left aside. Okay, again, uncapped is a very tough category to choose from. You are
Acha, I'll
obviously
give you
let,
names.
let me
I'll
let
give
let
you
me rile
names.
Dhruv up. Let me rile Dhruv a little. The under 19
Yash
boys
Dul.
coming in from the exactly Yash Dhul. I'm going for Yash Dhul as the most expensive uncapped player just to rile up Dhruv a little.
Yash Dul. Yash Dul bats at 4, right?
Yep,
Arey Baba, but your uncapped are not just under 19, right? I'll give
I
you a few
know.
options over here. Avesh Khan, Kartik Tyagi, who I think is in the top
Is
3
Avish
most
Khan uncapped?
talented. Avesh Khan's
Avish Khan.
uncapped. He still hasn't played for
Yeah,
India.
Okay,
yeah,
so if you're called into the Indian squad, it doesn't matter. You have to be in the playing 11.
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Shah Rukh Khan is obviously one. Avesh Khan, Shivam Mavi, Kartik Tyagi. I think Kartik Tyagi for me is in the top 3, top 5 most talented in India
Uh,
overall today, youngsters.
yeah.
Unreally good, yaar. How is he so
Very
good?
good death bowler. Good death bowler.
Oh,
Good
That's the
death
skill.
bowler.
fantastic.
Yeah. So now a spinner, their skill of bowling in the power play. Compare that to a good fast bowler who can bowl well at the
Uncapped.
death.
Rahul Tripathi is also
Tripathi
uncapped.
Saab. Tripathi Saab.
Nitish Rana is
Nitish
also
Rana.
uncapped.
I don't know
So
what the
many
three
KKR
is.
fans you have on your podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
A
Monopoly.
lot of Kolkata fans. Odeon Smith, some shouts for Odeon. So yeah, we are talking about uncapped. Let's talk about uncapped first. But yeah, I mean, interesting. Wow, it's not nice though that these guys are still uncapped, but their time will come. But yeah, Dhruv, what do you make of the uncapped folks? Who do you think will go for big bucks?
Just a big money or say a surprise pick?
Oh yeah, let's do surprise
Either.
pick. That's better.
That's one.
Surprise pick. I'm just looking at a few names here.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. So am I. I really like the look of Raj Bawa. Oh God, what a player! Raj Bawa from the under 19 setup. Yeah, he bats at 4 left-handed, strike rate of 130 plus, and bowls 145.
Yeah.
So if you look at the two best performers in the Syed Mushtaq that just happened before, the most recent Syed Mushtaq, Venki Iyer and Rituraj. So I think
Ruturaj was
franchises.
mad in that
Oh,
tournament.
so
He had
good.
some like
Yeah,
he
so
had
good.
like 5, 6 centuries in
Is
that
Rishi
tournament.
Dhawan uncapped?
No, he's capped.
Yes.
Rishi Dhawan is
No,
capped.
no, no, no. He's capped. He's capped. He's capped. He's played
Rishi Dhawan
before.
is capped in
And he'll go, and I
Australia
think and I
under
think
MS.
Mumbai. And I think he's going Mumbai are going for Rishi Dhawan
Underrated.
as your
Hmm.
Hardik replacement.
Yeah.
Oh, big call,
Big call.
I
Yeah,
think
very
so.
big
big
call.
call, big call,
What
big call.
what time does the bidding start? 11:30 or at
I
11:30?
12, 12.
everyone's asking everyone's just asking the same in the comments as well. Oh, who does
Who
just
does?
become capped? Thanks for
Yeah,
letting us know who does not uncapped.
12. The
But
bidding starts at 12.
bidding starts at 12 for everybody asking. So you have time in case you don't want to, you want to hang around. We're here for just a little bit more. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, some interesting shouts. Mandeep Singh. Oh, a lot of Mandeep
You send the
Singh.
link to a couple of the franchises so they can spend this last hour. You never know. You never know what happens. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, Dinesh Bana. I don't know if Dinesh Bana is available. I'm not sure if Dinesh Bana is available to be picked. Arib and
Rahul
Dhruv are both
Tewatia.
on Twitter. Rahul
Rahul
Tewate is
Not
capped.
on,
Tewatia.
not on
Is
Twitter. I'm
He's
actually
not
just
capped.
going through this. I'm going through this list.
Yeah,
yeah.
the uncapped list. I'm going through the uncapped.
Yeah, I'm just going
K-
through that. I mean,
Boss, KS Bharat proved a lot last year. He
हाँ,
might
but
just be.
वो अरे these folks will always will always be bought. It's not about big
Yeah,
money. They'll be bought because he's a keeper, backup, perfect option. No,
yeah.
experienced, सब कुछ है. So yeah, I mean, any shouts in the comments as well? Anyone of you
yeah,
think
is he foreign?
Ma-
He's an Australian player, right? The ambidextrous spinner, Nivetan
he's
Radhakrishnan.
Australian? Yes,
yeah,
he's
yeah. He is.
ambidextrous and he's from Australia. Yes, yes.
So he has actually
Manan
played in the
Vora.
TNPL. He's played in the TNPL as well.
He's played in the TNPL. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
interesting.
He's the
A lot of
surprise
shouts
pick.
from the TNPL also. Oh,
He's the
interesting.
surprise pick. He'll be a surprise pick.
What's the name again for everybody?
Nivetan, Nivetan Radhakrishnan.
Nivedan Radhakrishnan. Interesting. Ambidextrous bowler.
Yeah,
We've forgotten about Basil Thampi a little bit though. Some shouts
fastest
for
best.
Basil.
Oh, yeah.
Yash Dhul, lots of Yash Dhul shouts again. Lots of Yash Dhul, lot of Dinesh Bana shouts. Any other predictions from you folks in the comments about on uncapped Indian players? Because this is where the romance is of the IPL. You know, you're always looking at these folks to be
Yeah.
picked up,
I
made
think
millionaires overnight.
there's one category that we didn't touch upon enough today. You know what category is that? The
We still
Indian
have time.
all-rounders. Yeah, just a side
In,
mention if you don't have time. Indian all-rounders, as in, Deepak Chahar did a lot of good yesterday. He's going to go for big today. Shardul Thakur is there. He's going to be in demand because suddenly
Rishi
Hardik
Dhawan.
Pandya is gone. Rishi Dhawan is there.
Hmm.
Exactly. So
Also,
that is going to
see
be.
when to add the Indian all-rounder, Indian power hitter is one wide
Uh,
category, and that again
yeah,
is a game-changing category. Because how many solid Indian power hitters have you had? Hardik Pandya comes to mind. Krunal Pandya to an extent. We've not had a proper power hitter since Yusuf Pathan.
yeah.
Rishi Dhawan falls into this category.
What
Deepak
about
Hooda.
this name on the screen? I've seen Abhinav Manohar a little bit. He can smack it, right, Dhruv, at the death?
Yeah, he can. He can. He'll probably be an RCB target, I'm sure.
Yeah, Abhinav Manohar. I'm not sure, Varib, if you followed, but
Yeah.
he can play at
Yeah,
180,
yeah, yeah,
200.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, really good shout, actually. And
See your
I
ideal
think just
One
to
there.
T20 level. Your ideal T20 level. You got one opener at 130 strike rate. Your other opener at 170.
160.
Put number
Yeah.
three, Shreyas type of player, Surya type of player. Then 4, 5, 6. The best power hitters win you the game.
yeah,
Your
simple as that.
Pollards and your Pandyas and your
Correct. Yeah.
MSs.
Yeah. It's
So
why like
yeah,
MI has been that successful, right? Pollard,
Yeah,
Pandya.
yeah.
six.
True.
I think number six is a hugely important position in
Yeah.
T20
Five and
cricket
six.
today.
5, 6.
5 and 6. Let's yeah,
5 and 6.
definitely. I mean, and if you look at it, right, there are a few options in the auction today as well who can bat at that place. A few names for everybody. Liam Livingston. Oh,
Mm.
big, huge. Want to go for a lot of
He
money.
can bowl too. He can bowl too.
He can bowl leg spin. He can bowl off
And
spin
again, see,
a
he
little.
can be used as a floater, like how Australia used Mitch Marsh in the T20 World
Mm.
Cup.
That's the
Now,
other name, Mitch Marsh.
when you have a player like a Mitch Marsh or a Liam Livingston, even someone like a
Hmm.
more traditional number three like a Steve Smith, he um, he again doesn't fit into the top one, two, three, four. See, the traditionally very good 50 over and test players who bat at three, um, their times are not very successful in T20 cricket.
Yeah,
That's just how it is. So I
It's
mean,
true. That's very true. It's very true. It's changed. The template's changed. So a few more all-rounder names for everybody. I don't know if you can count Marco Jansen as an all-rounder. He can bat a little bit. Um, Odion Smith did well.
yeah.
Odion Smith's a good shout. A few other names: Shakib Al Hassan, Dwayne Bravo, Shivam Dubey. Shivam Dubey is
hasn't
That is
been
guy.
missing
performed.
for a while.
Hasn't
Hasn't
Yeah,
performed
performed.
at all, is it?
Hasn't
Yeah.
performed.
yeah,
See, Shivam Dubey
Uh,
when he was
mm,
uncapped, you remember he went for that massive price in the IPL in the open auction. His first
yeah,
season when he
Rajasthan
was
Royals.
uncapped, he went for
yeah.
what 5 or 6 crore at the time, and then it
Yeah,
takes a
Mm,
lot
mm,
to live
mm.
up to it. So again, this will be a new dynamic. There'll be a lot of good uncapped players, but teams now through their scouting would have seen enough of them. So
yeah,
if
Mm.
there's a player they really really want, they will go after them. But I don't. I'll be surprised if we had to say today how much you think an uncapped Indian is going to go for max.
yeah.
Is someone going to go 7 8 CR? I don't think so. I'd be surprised.
I think they'll go for Shah Rukh Khan, and they'll go for Shah Rukh Khan till about 8 CR. That's
About 8 CR.
because he can finish games. That's a skill you don't get.
Power
Um,
hitter.
Power hitter, yeah.
Power hitter
Good
is strike
fielder.
rate. Yeah, 200 to 220 strike rate. That's where
Yeah,
it's going to be crucial.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think this is another name. Hunger Kicker from the under 19s, bowls fast, can smack it out of the ground. Another big player. I think a few names from the under 19 setup they could potentially take a punt on. Raj Bawa, Hunger Kicker, these guys can smack it. Arif, did you follow the World Cup? Can you tell us
Yeah.
what did you make of
Uh,
this team? If there are
but
any players from that setup?
I mean, apart from the obvious, and Baby AB, like you said, Baby AB is from South Africa is going to be, one of those whether if he gets picked, maybe he gets picked, that kind
Dewald
of
Brewis.
situation. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of situation. But your Indians are going to get like they're going to get picked. I'm not too sure whether they're going to get their opportunities to showcase themselves, but they're going to get
Yeah.
picked and they're going to be built for the future. So I think under 19 cricketers are not going to make those big waves this time around because of the magnitude of the auction. If it were a smaller auction where there was limited talent pool available, then you might have seen the under 19 cricketers go for big bucks and making the headlines. I don't think so. It's going to be the same this time around.
No, and also see why a lot of the comments there that I'm reading as well is because see we've seen it on television. It's a televised event, so you've seen a lot of the under 19 boys play. The teams that have brilliant scouting have already been at Syed Mushtaq Ali games, have been at Vijay
Yeah,
Hazare games. They've identified their players. See, look, what did MI do brilliantly with their scouting with John Wright? The Pandya brothers, Jasprit Bumrah, right? These
Oof.
picks are game
Yeah.
changing picks. These are championship winning picks. So
yeah,
Yeah.
watching an under 19 World Cup on TV is fine. We've all seen it. But the franchises that have brilliant scouting, who are watching the whole thing and performing in Syed Mushtaq and Vijay Hazare is difficult. It's a competitive tournament.
yeah.
Hmm.
If you
जो
had to
आ
put
रहे
it
हैं
like,
अभी
yeah.
yeah, go on Dhruv.
No, I'm just saying I would put them as the three best scouting picks of the IPL.
Oh, for sure. I
Pandya
just want to say
brothers
hi
and
to everybody who's just joined in. A lot of people just joining in now with us moving closer to the auction. We're of course chatting all things day one, which are we are chatting at this point. Where were we on? What were we on? We were on uncapped Indian players. So any
captain.
shouts
I
that you
think
have? Huh? Sorry.
I think the uncapped Indian will be one of those things where someone goes for big money, and then everyone is
Yeah.
madly googling them for the rest of the day.
Right. Nahi, that's true. That's true. So, Yash Dhool, lots of shouts for Yash Dhool. Again, too many Yash Dhool shouts. Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
So I think all in all, wow. Oh, by the way, the IPL auction list has just hit my phone. I don't know if Dhruv you have it as well, but I can't present it on the screen here. It's it's too
Hmm.
extensive, and who makes these Excel sheets? Look at this sheet.
Oh yeah, I
So
have
this
this
is
as well.
circulated to all the teams, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is put out by
Yeah.
my
Yeah, it's
goodness, ये
there on
क्या
their
Excel है
website.
भाई?
No, but they get paid well in the
Unbelievable.
BCCI. No, it's a job, Sumit.
It's true. I wouldn't do it no matter what you pay. I don't do Excel sheets. I can't. I tried doing one yesterday, but yeah, it was quite crazy. All right. Oh, very interesting shout. Look at this. Riyan Parag. How has he slipped our radar? Um,
He slipped
Curious
our
case
radar
of
because
Riyan Parag.
he hasn't performed. That's why he slipped our radar.
भाई
But
भाई वो खेल
again,
लेता है, वो खेल लेता है यार. मतलब he can remember those. He hit, who was it? Did he hit Bumrah for 6 over long on? And it was a flick. It was just a flick.
Rabada.
Rabada. He hit Rabada for 6 over long on, whatever that is.
Yeah,
So he can play. He can play.
definitely play, but
Interesting
mm,
question. Not an uncapped player, but will Krunal go to Gujarat? It seems like from the outside, it seems like Hardik and Krunal might want to play together.
but then again, Mumbai would want to get Krunal back.
I don't think so.
Sure.
I think the ship has sailed.
Do you know
Right,
something that
Dhruv?
we don't, Sumit?
Huh? No, nothing much.
Okay.
Who buys Shikhar? Very interesting question. A lot of questions coming in actually, but we're still on the topic of uncapped Indians. So any other folks? Krishnappa Gautam is capped. Few Krishnappa Gautam comments here.
Yeah.
It's
Karun
capped
Nair
what?
is also capped.
Yeah. Sri Lanka series last year.
He
Oh,
got
One
his
cap.
he got his due.
yeah,
Riyan
everyone got.
Parag, more Riyan Parag questions. Imtiaz Ahmed from UP. Oh, interesting shout.
Hmm.
Sakaria, there's a shout for Sakaria as well, Chetan Sakaria, but he's capped. Um, all right. All
Hmm.
in all, I think this will continue on and on. But let's just unify this and say, okay, let's go straight to our shouts. Blanket call, all categories. Who do we think are going to be our wild picks? These are my three picks that are going to go for a lot of money. Rishi
Hmm.
Dhawan, Avesh Khan, and Devil Bruvis. I think Devil Bruvis is somebody that people might want to invest in. Um, that's the way I look at it. What do you guys make of it? Dhruv, your thoughts?
Yeah. Rishi Dhawan just won Himachal their first domestic trophy
Yeah.
this season,
Yeah.
and
Was he also? He was also batting at a good strike rate. Picked up a few wickets also, I think.
power hitter who can bowl is
Hmm.
is definitely going to work quite well. Yeah,
Mm.
Avish Khan definitely. Yeah, so wild pick you mean in terms of a lot of the money it will go for, or
Or
in terms
just something that out of your radar, out of everybody's radar, but could go on for good amount of money. You know,
interesting.
you think about it. I think Arib
Well,
has a thought.
I think Avesh Khan is on people's radar, and he is quite high on people's radars because he's an Indian fast bowler. He kind of falls in that Prasidh Krishna kind of category, hit the deck
Yeah,
quick. So I
good
think
death
he is
bowler.
on. Yeah, good death
अरे
bowler.
Bowler.
बढ़िया डेथ बॉलर है यार.
But
बढ़िया
yeah,
बढ़िया डेथ बॉलर है.
mm,
Hmm.
what so in terms of who you think is not like there are a lot of talk about Shreyas Iyer and the David Warners and things like that. Who do you think is going to have an underwhelming option? You know, who a lot of people are hyping up, but are not going to be that sought after
Among the Indian players.
among the entire pool.
Oh,
Someone who you think their best is behind them.
I think I don't see a foreign player going for. I mean, if there is any foreign player that's going to hit the real jackpot, if we're looking at, say, what, 14, 15 CR, the max, what happened with Chris Morris last year defied a lot of logic about how he went for that amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, see, you wouldn't spend that much on a foreign player unless they were either bringing both skills to the table, so they bat, they bowl,
Yeah. Yeah.
or if they're a captain. Now, if a particular team has made up their mind that David Warner is going to be their captain, they are definitely
Mhm.
gonna spend exponentially high on a Warner.
So
But
who's going
apart
to do it? Jitendra is asking who's going to buy Warner. Who do you think is leading that race right now? Before we get to the tables.
whoever has the most cap space, so that I think is what it's RR Punjab and KKR, right, with the most cap space.
I think you know what is
Not
also very
KKR.
interesting.
Not KKR,
Not
okay.
KKR, Punjab and RR. You know, something that we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that who comes up in the auction list first. That also plays a big role in terms of how players team
It does.
Your
strategize.
So
no,
see,
Yeah,
the
in a
set.
marquee set, right? In a marquee
Yeah,
set, I
this
think the teams know who they want.
yeah. Some shouts for Warner for Punjab already. It could happen. Dhruv, would you be happy
Warner and
with
Mayank together
Warner and Mayank together? Yeah, yeah. That's
no,
the
that would
thing.
be great.
that's a very interesting opening pair. That's then two people
Lethal.
striking at 160, 170.
We.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's good for a good from a well, good from a romantic point of view, I guess. But from a practical
Yeah.
point of view, you need one at 170, you need one at 130, 140. So I mean,
Hmm.
like I said, just as a fan, pick a good Indian opener to open with Mayank, spend the foreigners in the middle. But again, let's see.
But that's just how it is. It's very unpredictable. Even though you want to get the person, auction dynamics are such,
Of course,
because
yeah.
somebody, yeah, you want the player, but then some other team will push you, and then just abandon you, leave you out hanging, right, for dry. And then you're just
Yeah.
stuck at that
Which is why,
price
see,
range.
Jason Roy today in the auction will be, I'm sure he knows the dynamics well enough because he's gone unsold in a few auctions before. He now has almost put
Hmm.
himself in as the best backup foreign option to David Warner. He's just got 100 in the PSL, I think, last week as well.
On
So, if
Monday.
teams, correct. So, teams, if they're really focusing on Warner, a lot are not going to get him because you're going to only go to one team,
Yeah.
right? Now, if a team does get Warner and exploits a lot of their cap space, you're gonna end up getting Jason Roy at a bargain buy because again,
Exactly.
no one's gonna have 10 CR plus to buy him, right? So
True.
Look at this for a shout. This is something that no one's seen coming. With oh, not this. Sorry. Yeah, this one. Do you think RCB will sort of turn this around and make Maxwell their captain? He does it with the Melbourne Stars, right?
yeah, he should be the captain.
I mean, if they don't get
Save
shares
up,
today, they might just.
save up that money. No, Are don't just go after Rabada. Go after Lockie
Yes,
Ferguson. Go after
exactly.
Trent
So,
Bolt.
yeah,
Yeah.
save the money for bowlers, save the money for utility players. And see, if you're not playing in Bangalore this IPL, your utility players are going to come in handy because the wickets are going to get really slow in Pune and in Bombay towards the end of the tournament if you're only playing in three venues.
Yeah,
It's
for
true.
that.
A fast
And I
bowler who
think
can
here,
bowl slower
yeah,
balls like Rabada, who can bowl as off cutters, he can bowl yorkers, all that will matter for sure as well.
yeah. Ooh, that's a great shout, by the way. Prakhyat. Well done, buddy. That's a good shout. Interesting. Maxwell captaining Bangalore.
I hope
All right.
Shreyas's
I
name
think.
comes out first in the draw. They just want to
Yeah,
open
yeah.
him. Yeah, they just want to
Just get
open him
it
back.
done with. Just get it
Yeah, and
done with.
he got
Yeah.
an 80 yesterday, so his timing was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of these players turned up, yesterday, day before.
Yeah, of course.
Quite nice.
Yeah,
But
every
but
employee turns
interesting
up well before
also
appraisal. Every employee turns up
b-
well before appraisal.
before appraisal. Correct. That's true. But the
Your sales
one name,
targets are
right?
always the best in March before books are closing.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
right.
The one name that's not in the marquee set, right? But I reckon could be a good shout to also skipper is Ishan Kishan. And if someone sort of decided that they want to go for him,
As a
they'll
captain,
wait.
no. No, not as a captain.
He's captain before. He's done India under 19.
Back to India under 19.
Back to India under 19. But I
Yeah,
think it's a good shout.
favorite
You
topic.
could
The
look at it.
favorite topic.
Here's what
Could be nice.
I hope does happen. Here's what I hope does happen. It
Yeah.
again, it's a bit far-fetched if it does. So say you have in the marquee set a lot of very aggressive bidding for maybe a Warner, right? And let's just hope that, I don't know, or teams lose out on a bit of cap space, and then MI get to buy Shreyas Iyer. He becomes your long-term replacement
I
5 years.
always wanted that. I've always thought about that. Let him now be under Rohit for a few years. Then he becomes he's a local boy. Make him your poster boy, and it's perfect. Absolutely
But
perfect.
that is only provided the teams lose out on cap space bidding aggressively
It's
for
not,
a foreigner,
yeah.
because MI
I
doesn't
don't
have
think
cap
it'll
space.
happen.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
MI
I don't
doesn't
think
have.
it'll happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I've been beating the drum on this since I
Yeah.
think last year that they should go after Shreyas, but with how things have turned out, right, with the other franchises wanting captains, and to be honest, Shreyas also might feel like he for his career trajectory, getting into a space where he can be captain right now might just do him good,
I think that's
as
what
opposed to
Yeah.
he. I think that's why what he wants, which is why he didn't take a pre-auction retention with any of the teams, because captaincy was obviously the priority. I think, see, what he's achieved
exacto.
as a captain in 2019 and 20 has been forgotten very quickly. He's brilliant as
Yeah.
a captain.
Hmm.
I think that that is something, and sometimes when you make an Indian player at a captain, they start thinking less
Hmm.
about their own game and more about the team. That sometimes can really help.
Yeah, for those who are asking in the comment section, the bidding will start at 12 noon, right? Not now. It's going to start at 12 noon, so we're here for a bit.
How much more time do we
Uh
have on our thing? I think, are we winding up soon, or do we have time?
we
Or
are we are we are we are we are we are winding up soon. All right. I
no
think I think
franchises are messaging you saying please keep going.
nobody yet. I just spoke to somebody at Lucknow sometime back who's not traveling, but is with them. They're quite nervous. It's quite interesting though. It can get quite overwhelming for them as well, right, Dhruv? It's not the easiest thing to do.
No, it's the added dimension now is they're in a secure bio bubble till the auction is done. So you have your
Yeah.
thing, multiple COVID tests, and that's something also that adds to everything. I don't think anyone can step out of the bubble till the auction is complete.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's going to be one. The dosas at ITC Gardenia are excellent. Are they at ITC
Yeah.
Gardenia or somewhere else? Yeah,
ITC,
there you go.
obviously.
ITC Garden,
That's what
the
I said
OG.
yesterday. Delhi.
Dosas are excellent. Dosas are
So
excellent.
just the same. That's what I said yesterday. For I was on this live with Delhi Capitals yesterday, and I said, listen, just tell your owners in the marquee set, go after your 1-2 guys, and then just sit back, let the others spend, enjoy an extra dosa or an extra filter coffee at ITC. So let's just do that. Great place to do breakfast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the first star is going to decide everything, right? Ari,
It
the
is.
first star will sort of
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
us.
The marquee set, once the marquee set happens, that tells you which direction the team is going. As simple as that.
Because it
Because
will tell you how much cap space is left. That
exactly,
determines
and
how well.
and and the moment they have their marquee picks in place, they know what areas they have covered, and then we also know that what they need going further into the next 2 days of the auction. So the first hour is crucial. Who keeps their cool will lift the title.
All right. I think we kept our cool today, but we also had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. We were initially supposed to do this for an hour, but we are touching the 1.5 hour mark. But that's
Yeah.
nice. I'm going to let you folks get on your way and uh, go about your lives, and have fun throughout the day. I hope everyone joining in also had a
Yeah.
good time. And
And I think
Dhruv,
it's
thanks for
what's
coming.
yeah, and Sumit, if I could just add, I think what's
Yes.
again, putting all the fun aside, a lot of these boys have worked really hard, and I think that the way the professional sporting system and the cricketing system is that a lot of these guys are going to deserve the money that they've earned. They've worked their socks off for it for years, and the cricketing ecosystem has really given these guys a platform to earn this kind of money. A lot of us who follow franchise sports around the world, this is not new to us, but I think the Indian market, I realize every year, is understanding how the dynamic of franchise sport and earning well comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Very true.
Arif, thanks for
Very
use the
true.
coming,
use,
man.
use
This
the
is
Exactly.
money
fun.
wisely. Use the money wisely.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, gents. It was fun
Thanks for
chatting.
having me. Great fun. Nice to
And
meet you, Arif.
nice to meet you too.
Yeah, literally, for everyone's watching, Arif and Dhruv have just met on the podcast. So,
Uh,
I'm taking pride in that. Yesterday as well, somebody joined me who, DM'd me and said, listen, I like your work. Can I be on your podcast? I said, come on. And
Yeah.
and that's something that we want to do. We want to have an open platform where people can come and chill and relax and enjoy. And
Absolutely.
you'll be joined by folks like Dhruv and Arib who, are doing incredibly well in their domains in cricket. And that's what this is about. Thank you so much for coming. Enjoy the auction, everyone. Cheers. Thanks.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.